Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Stories with Ian. This one being the Halloween Horror Edition. Gosh, you know, I always hate saying that word because it's so close to that word that you should never say. And if you say it too fast, it sounds like that word. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, before me, I have the 15 most scary short stories in the world. And today I'll be reading each of them to you. My gosh, these candles. How do witches and wizards do this? I'm gonna blow them out because smoke is just going into my lungs right now and that's really not healthy. Oh, there's more smoke. Oh my gosh, Cut. But I have a challenge for you. You must watch this video until the end because the stories will be getting scarier and scarier. And if you make it until the end, you'll be crowned a true scary story warrior. Exit before the video ends and, well, let's just say you'll be cursed. Oh, and before I forget, remember to like this video because if we get to 150,000 likes, I'll make a part 2 and post it on Halloween. And destroy that subscribe button because if we get to 10 million subscribers, I will host the world's biggest Naruto run. And I'll host the world's biggest pillow fight. This pillow cost $2,000. Can you believe it? At that pillow fight, I'll be giving it away to somebody, like someone did for me, because I would never spend $2,000 on a pillow. All right, let's start the stories for realsies this time. Story number 1, scariness level number 1. All right, this one is called Who's in My Bed? It's a really weird name for a scary story. All right, let's start. Also, y'all, this is my first time reading all these stories, so I'm reacting to them at the same time you are. So if I get a little too scared, just know I'm just as scared as you are. Let's dive in. A father went to say goodnight to his 7-year-old son, very well knowing that if he didn't, his son would have trouble sleeping. Am I a good storyteller or what? That was terrible. It was a nightly routine between them. He entered the dimly lit room where his son waited under his blanket. With the first glance, the father could tell there was something unusual about his son tonight, but couldn't put his finger on it. He looked the same, but had a grin that drew from ear to ear. "You okay, buddy?" the father asked. The son nodded, still with a grin, before saying, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." The father chuckled a bit before getting on his knees to check only to satisfy his son. There, under the bed, pale and afraid, was his son. His real son. He whispered, "Daddy, there's someone on my bed." Yo, that's scary. Oh my gosh. Wow, okay. And that's level 1. Okay, we're gonna go to level 2 now. It's called The Cabin. A hiker decided to go on a hike by himself, something he was not very used to. The whole day was normal. Trees and bushes engulfed his surroundings. He enjoyed being outdoors in the mountains. Nothing seemed strange to him. That was until he was making his way back to the car. Also, yeah, I'm reading off my phone. I'm sorry, it's not a real scary story book. I know, but listen, not everything on social media is real. Like these stories, so don't get scared. It's only level 2. He figured an 8-hour hike was good enough. This scares me because I'm a hiker and I don't want to be scared next time I go on a hike. The sky was already getting dark and he needed to get back. Fast. What was odd was how much he didn't recognize the trail back. He began to panic. I'm getting goosebumps. As a hiker. Night had already taken over, and all he had was a flashlight, and no clue on how to get back. He knew it was already too late, and too dangerous, to keep going through the perilous forest. He began to worry that he would have no shelter for the night, when almost luckily enough, he stumbled across a broken down cabin. It was dark, and seemed like no one had visited in years, but he knew it was the only place where he could rest until daylight, especially since his flashlight was running out of battery. He knocked on the door a few times but no one answered, so he let himself in. Where strangely enough, a perfect bed fitted for one person awaited him in the center. He knew that if the owner came back, he could explain himself. He was sure that the owner wouldn't mind, or was even probably dead. Say what now? So he went ahead and got himself comfortable in bed. As he tried to sleep, he couldn't ignore the collection of paintings around the room. Portraits of strange-looking people all peering at him. This is freaky. Each wearing a smile that sent chills up his spine. Not too long after, his exhaustion from the hike got the best of him and he was able to ignore the faces. The next morning he got up early and was shocked to see that there were no paintings around the room, but windows. This is freaky. Oh my gosh. I can't, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this is scary. Okay, level 3. Story is called The Red Wristband. A doctor was working at a hospital where the patients were tagged with colored bands. Green, alive. Red, deceased. One night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement of the hospital, and so he headed to the elevator. The elevator doors opened, and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. As she should. Patients were allowed to roam around the hospital to stretch, especially those who have stayed long. The rule was to be back in their rooms before 10. The doctor smiled at the patient before he pressed the number for the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. He wondered if she was heading to the basement too. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors opened. In the distance was a man limping towards the door, and in a panic the door slammed the elevator button to close. It finally did, and the lift began to ascend back up, the doctor's heart pounding. "Why did you do that? He was trying to use the lift," the woman stated, annoyed. Lift means elevator, by the way. "Did you see his wrist?" the doctor asked. "It was red. He died last night. I would know because I did his surgery." The woman lifted her wrist. He saw red. She smiled. "Like this one?" Ah! Creepy! Creepy! Next one is called White with Red, level 4. A man moved into an apartment and heads to the receptionist to get his keys. The receptionist gave him the key with a smile, but warned him not to disturb the door with no number on his floor. He wondered why, but didn't bother to ask. He was too busy with his new apartment to care. After he finished unpacking, he began to get curious. He questioned why the receptionist would warn him such things, and so he stepped out of his apartment to check the other door with no number. Idiot. This is how every horror story starts. Oh my gosh. He tried the doorknob first, but it was locked. So instead, he got onto his knees and peeked through the keyhole. The apartment he was looking into was empty. His eyes scanned the whole place before stopping at a woman. Oh my god, my fridge just made a noise. I hope it was my fridge. She was standing face against a wall in the corner. I can't read this, I'm too scared. He noticed her pale skin and long black hair before stepping back, suddenly feeling perverted in a way for invading someone else's privacy. He brushed it off, assuming she was someone that did not want to be disturbed. The next day, he got more curious about the woman, and eventually went back, straight away, getting onto his knees. He peeked through the keyhole and saw all red. He assumed that the pale woman must have caught him peeking the last time and covered the hole with something red. Gosh, this is scary. He left the door alone and instead went down to the receptionist to ask her questions. The receptionist sighed and asked, "You looked through the keyhole, didn't you?" He admitted to it, and so she felt obliged to tell him the story. She told him that a couple used to live in that apartment a long time ago, but the husband went crazy and killed his wife. This couple wasn't normal. They had pale skin, black hair, and red eyes. That means she was looking through the keyhole the same time he was. Oh, it's creepy. That is creepy. That's just... Yo. The people who make these stories are freaking geniuses. Wow. Okay, next one is called A Mother's Call, level 5. Good luck to me and you, my friends. Oh my gosh. Okay, A Mother's Call. A daughter was in her room upstairs, doing her homework, when suddenly she heard her mother call to come down for dinner. She jumped onto her feet and began making her way towards the stairs. But before she even took a step, hands grabbed her and pulled her into the laundry room beside the staircase. She panicked before realizing it was her mother, her real mother, eyes watery and bloodshot. She said, "Don't go down there, honey. I heard it too." You know those like small sounds you hear in like your house? Because it's like gravity pulling your house down to the floor and just houses make weird noises all the time. Those noises are scaring me way more than normal right now. This is creepy as heck. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was 5. Now I'm gonna go to the other ones. Those were so creepy. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to think. These ones are a little bit longer. I honestly might have to make a part 2. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you want a part 2. If we get this video to 150,000 likes, I'll definitely make a part 2, but these stories are kind of long, so I might have to make a part 2. Next one, level 6, is called Murder on the Loose. Y'all ready? Let's do it. A man was laying in bed one evening when he noticed there were lots of sirens in the streets outside, and there was a helicopter flying around overhead, and the sounds of barking dogs and shouting people. He looked out his window and saw a great deal of police activity. That's weird, police activity. Why don't you just say lots of police? Okay. Police activity. So he went online to discover what was going on. "Serial killer escapes," said the headlines. As he read further, the man discovered a crazed killer had broken loose, and that he was believed to be in the man's neighborhood. But he wasn't too worried. As the night wore on, he wasn't too worried? Hold on, what? What's going on? I looked that way because I want to make sure no one was here, because this is scary stuff, okay? But how are you not scared that a freaking serial killer is in your neighborhood? Oh my gosh. As the night wore on, the noise wound down, and the man went to bed. Suddenly, the man was startled awake. He thought he had heard a sound. He listened carefully, and was just about to go to sleep when he heard it again. This time, he was sure someone was trying to get into his front door. The man looked down the hallway, terrified, not knowing what to do. The only way out of his room, without going into the hallway, was through the window. He couldn't climb out, could he? His mind was made up as he saw the door wobble in its frame. as someone threw their entire weight against it. Without another moment of hesitation, the man leapt out his window and ran into his yard. He paused to look over his shoulder, just in time to see the light go on in his bedroom, and a team of police officers pile in. The man was amazed and relieved at the same time, until he felt a hand clamped tight over his mouth, and the cold steel of a serial killer's knife against his throat. That wasn't too scary. It's more of like, okay, this guy was dumb. He should have evacuated the moment he knew he should have, and then whatever. I put that at like a level 1, to be honest. This one's called the hitchhiker. Level 7, a man moved to a small town and slowly got to know a few of his neighbors. He soon learned that most of the residents believed that one of the roads out of town was haunted. But he didn't believe in ghosts, so he never asked why. One day, the man went to visit a friend in another town. He was enjoying his visit so much that he ended up staying later than he planned. By the time that he left for home, it was way past midnight. There was no moon that night. Once he left the town limits, the only lighting came from the headlights. Soon, it began raining. So, was that cool? Did you like that? The sound effects? Soon, it began raining. And the rain made it even more difficult to see. As a result, it was almost too late to brake when the man saw the woman on the road. He jammed his foot hard to the floor, and the car swerved in the road before coming to a stop just inches from her legs. Girl, why don't you move? Oh my gosh. Okay, whatever. It's a scary story, I guess. Just, I don't know. It's probably a ghost, whatever. Normally, the man would have driven off again. What? What a terrible person. Oh my gosh. But it was so late, and the weather was terrible. He decided to offer the woman a ride. That's creepy, but I mean, I guess he is nice. She got into his car, took off her wet hoodie, she was wearing a hoodie, and held her hands up to the vents to capture the warmth. When they reached town, the woman directed him to her home, thanked him for the ride, and went inside. When the man got home, he discovered she had left her hoodie in his car. Oh, she had a little crush on him. Okay, she wanted to see him again. Maybe. For different reasons. Like destroying him. Like you should destroy that subscribe button. Hey, let's go. He thought about driving it back to her house, but it was so late, he decided to go inside to bed and return the hoodie the next day. The next morning, he drove back to the house where he had dropped her off, walked to the door, and rang the bell. An older woman answered the door, and he handed her the hoodie. I gave your daughter a ride home last night, and she left this in my car. She said, my daughter was killed by a hit-and-run driver many years ago. It happened on the road into town, and she was wearing a hoodie just like this one. Okay, that one's kind of creepy. That one was kind of creepy. I think I've heard stories like that before. This one looks scary. We'll do 2 more, all right? Because I do want to make a part 2 on this. So we'll do 2 more stories. If you guys want another one of these, let's get this video to 150,000 likes. Because I'm creeped the heck out right now. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'm not going to finish the challenge. All right, this one's called the 13th floor. If you live in or visit a building without a 13th floor, this story is an excellent way to explain why the number isn't used in the elevator. Use your best judgment over whether your child is mature enough to handle this tale. Oh my gosh. Okay. Those over 7 should enjoy this one. So if you're under 7, it's telling you not to watch this. All right. Level 8. The first hotel to have 13 floors had a huge Halloween party to celebrate its opening. Each floor was set up like a maze, decorated with cobwebs and other Halloween decorations. There were lots of people dressed up as ghosts and ghouls to frighten the partygoers. An exciting prize was hidden on the top floor, and the first person to reach it would win the prize. Jack and Sophia were the 2 partygoers. They worked their way easily through the mazes onto the first few floors. As they headed up through the building, the hallways on each floor got darker and scary. When they got to the 12th floor, Jack and Sophia heard a blood-curdling scream. That's the first time I heard that word, blood-curdling. That's scary. That's because curdling is more like a cute word, right? I don't know what curdling means, but that's scary. As they made their way through the maze, they heard more screams and cries for help. Finally, in the lobby by the elevators, they saw blood dripping from the ceiling. Yeah, I'm looking back because I'm scared. Oh my gosh. The elevator dinged and the door slowly opened, which was strange because every other time they used the elevators, the doors had been quick and smooth. The light in the elevator was flickering, ding, 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 as they stepped in. And as the doors began to close, the lights went out completely. Okay, oh no, I'm turning them back on. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna do this for the rest of the story. Okay, and then screams so loud the entire building heard them begin to ring out. At first, the partygoers thought it was just part of the scary Halloween thing. But then, the owners of the building turned on all the lights and asked everyone to return to the lobby. But when people tried to use the elevator, it never came. The bell would ding, but the doors wouldn't open, and they were all forced to use the stairs. I'm getting creeped the heck out right now. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Down in the lobby, the building owners explained they had not played the sounds of the screams. And as they did a check of everyone who came back, they realized Jack and Sophia had not returned. Just then, the doors to the elevator opened. It was empty, except for Jack's watch, one of Sophia's shoes, and a pool of blood. Jack and Sophia were never seen again, and the building owners took away the button for the 13th floor, so nobody would disappear there again. Ah! Gosh! Oh my gosh, y'all. That's creepy. I could keep going, but I'd rather save these because this was really fun to make. I had so much fun making this. Oh my gosh, wow. Did y'all like it? Which one was your favorite story? Wow, that was creepy. And you know what? Since you're still here, congratulations on becoming a scary story warrior. I shall now crown you as a mighty warrior of the scaries. That sounded way better in my head. Give me back my gauntlet. Oh my gosh. Scary story. This appeared on my door the day after my birthday, and I had no idea who gave it to me. But I had realized it was just TikTok being nice to me. And that's why they write the scary stories and I just read them. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the story. Let me know which one was your favorite in the comments, because I'm actually curious. Mine was probably, for the one that scared me the most, was probably one of the first ones. That one with the red eyes and stuff, that one scared me a lot. There's such a twist that you didn't expect, you know, and it's so short and simple. It's crazy. And I also want to see if we have a people's favorite, so that in part 2, I can maybe bring that one back and make it scarier, or find more similar to it. And don't forget to hit that like button and get this video to 150,000 likes, because if we do, I will definitely be making a part 2. I just didn't want this video to be super long or like way too long so you wouldn't watch the whole thing. I know we all have things to do, but watching an Ian Boggs video, I know you always got time for that. Okay, and also don't forget to hit subscribe so we can get the Ian Nation to 10 million, this is 10 fingers, subscribers. Almost couldn't count for a second. Gosh, I keep getting scared about every single thing that's like a human. All right, y'all, much love, stay beautiful, stay spooky, and I'll see you in my next video, which hopefully is another spooky video. Peace, love, and scares. See ya.